Have you ever heard the phrase that if you get one new credit card, you get one business class flight? A lot of people on the internet love to say that if you get the Capital One Venture or Capital One Venture X card, you can get a business class flight with just the sign-up bonus. To which a very common response is, how? In case we haven't met, hello, my name is Julia and I am the founder of GeoBreeze Travel. I personally got about $100,000 worth of travel last year for approximately 90% off by using points and miles. And we typically save our clients more than $30,000 in travel in the first 6 months of working with our team. And we want to provide you with a clear path to luxury travel as well with these step-by-step tutorials. Viewer-suggested topics for these tutorial videos are always welcome, so please let us know if there is a topic that you would like covered. Okay, let's jump in with a pretty straightforward example for how you can turn your Capital One Venture sign-up bonus into an Emirates business class flight or even a first class flight. So our first example with one sign-up bonus, one business class flight is going to be a really easy one to find and also a very exciting one to fly. So Emirates has all of these really fun Fifth Freedom flights where you don't need to fly all the way to Dubai to experience Emirates first class. Two of the most popular routes are to go from JFK over to Milan or Newark over to Athens. But there's another one that I want to go over today. That is to fly from Miami over to Bogota, Colombia. And there is tons of availability. So all you need to do is go to Emirates and then search from Miami over to Bogota, and you can pick pretty much any day you want. I just picked January 8th, but you can pick 16th, January 9th, any time in January. And I'm just searching for one passenger in business class for now. Go ahead and click search flights. And what you'll find is it's only 52.5 thousand miles plus $106 in taxes and fees to fly in Emirates business class. And then also, if we go back and change our search and say that we want classic rewards and that we are flexible on our dates, we will see that this is available for many days around there as well. You could fly Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Looks like some of these are 60,000 points, but most of the days are going to be 52,500, which is just a fraction of the sign-up bonus you would get with one credit card sign-up. And here's something that's even more exciting. Not only do you have the option to fly business class, but you could also search for this in first class. So we'll do the same thing where we just pick a date in January. We'll say that we're flexible on dates, one passenger in first class, and go ahead and click on search. It's only 60,000 miles if you wanted to fly this in first class, and there's actually a lot of availability for this as well. If you love free resources that let you maximize your points, check out geobreezetravel.com/quiz. There, you will find a free short quiz that will point you to the best resources depending on whether you are trying to earn more points, redeem your points, or something else. And by taking the free quiz, you will also get access to the free Points 101 course, which is a fantastic resource for anybody just getting started with points and miles. Up next is another fan favorite business class product, which is Qatar Qsuites. Your Capital One sign-up bonus can get you a seat in this incredible business class product all the way to Qatar, as long as you find the right routes and dates. Here's the play. So let's say that instead of wanting to fly Emirates business class or first class, you would like to fly Qatar Qsuites. How can you do that with less than 75,000 Capital One points? Let's take a look at the Capital One transfer partners. I like to use this page, which is by upgraded points. And then if we just look at the different Capital One transfer partners, I try to ignore all the ones that do not say almost instant because I don't want to wait for up to 5 days for my points to show up in Cathay Pacific. But they do have some different partners within the Avios program that let you book flights with Qatar Qsuites. For example, there is British Airways and there is Finnair, and it looks like Iberia and Qantas and Aer Lingus are not partners. So those would be your two main options if you wanted to book with Qatar. But how do you even find these? Because Seats.aero does not show any of the Avios programs. As we covered in a previous video, it does not have British Airways and it does not have Finnair in these search results. But what you can do instead is go under Tools and then click on Qatar Qsuites Finder. And let's say that we have Pro, so we can search the whole year, and let's go from North America to anywhere. So once the Qatar Qsuites finder has loaded, I would search for Doha in the search bar and then sort by business class lowest so that you see all of these different dates and routes where it's only 70,000 points per person one way, so that you can get one credit card sign-up bonus with the Capital One Venture or Venture X, and then get one really, really nice business class flight in Qsuites over to Doha this way. So there are a few different cities that we can choose from, like IAD or JFK, but we're actually seeing a lot of availability from Montreal, which is another fun tip, is that if sometimes you're okay to position over to Canada, they have a lot of availability with some routes, including this one. So let's say that you wanted to go in February, which is going to be a lot nicer in Doha versus in August. Let's try this date of February 11. Rather than going through American Airlines or Alaska, which are not partners with Capital One, if it's showing up here, I would test it out on British Airways as well. So what you'll want to do is log into British Airways, hover over Book, click on Book a Flight with Avios, and then type in your route. So here we have Montreal, over to Doha on February 11. Let's just search one way only for business class and just one adult for now. Then go ahead and click Get Flights. Select No, I want to continue without stopovers. And then here we'll see that there are 2 tickets left in business class for this particular date from Montreal over to Doha. And then if we select this, each ticket is going to be 70,000 points plus $126 in taxes and fees with British Airways. And another fun thing that they've added now is this calendar view, where you can say find availability with British Airways on other dates. And for the particular route that you select, it will show you all of the days around that time where there are some off-peak days and peak days, and which days are already sold out for this particular route. So this is a really handy feature of British Airways as well. And that way you'll be able to fly all the way over to Doha in Qsuites with just one credit card sign-up bonus. If you are in the market for a new card like the Capital One Venture or Venture X so that you can fly in business class like this, but you're not sure which of the cards to get, check out our free credit card consultation form at geobreezetravel.com/consultations. We will send you a personalized recommendation based on your particular goals, budget, and lifestyle. Or, if you already know what card you'd like to get and you would like to support this show when you apply for your next card, we have our affiliate links listed to different cards on geobreezetravel.com/cards. So, let's say that you don't want to fly to South America or the Middle East, but instead, you would like to use your new credit card sign-up bonus to fly in business class to Europe. Here is how you would do just that. If you get a sign-up bonus with a Capital One Venture card or Venture X card, you're going to earn 75,000 points for that sign-up bonus. And another cool thing that you can do with 75,000 points is transfer them over to Air Canada and fly up to 7,500 physical miles in business class with a partner airline. And it should only cost 75,000 points. Now, how do you figure out how far you can fly with 7,500 physical miles? I like to use the free tool Great Circle Mapper for this, where you just Google Great Circle Mapper. It's free, you don't need to make a login or anything. And then I just click on Map, and then under Ranges, I would type in 7,500 MI, which is miles, at, and then your airport. So let's say that you're based in Seattle. Click Draw Map, and it will show you all of the places that you can fly to, which is pretty much most of the world, other than some parts of Australia, Southeast Asia, and some parts of Africa. You can reach all of these different places for only 75,000 Air Canada miles. And that's if you're flying between the North American and Pacific zone, so let's focus on Asia right now. Now, just because it's within your distance range doesn't necessarily mean that there is award availability to there. So what I would do is I would go to seats.aero, click on Explore, and then Air Canada. From here, I would show flights from North America over to Asia, and let's just say that you're based in Seattle and you want to fly in 2025. There's a couple of direct flights over to Taipei, so let's make sure that we can find those. So from here, we would go over to aircanada.com, click One Way, Booking with Aeroplan Points, from Seattle over to Taipei on the dates that we find on Seats.arrow, which would be May 25th or 26th. And let's just say one adult is flying for now. Let's go ahead and click on Search Flights. And here we do see that flight from Seattle over to Taipei. It's 75,000 points plus 78 Canadian dollars in business class. But the thing is, it doesn't have to just be one direct flight. You can bounce back and forth through different countries as long as the total distance that you fly is less than 7,500 miles. So another thing you can do with Great Circle Mapper is say, all right, if I wanted to fly that Seattle over to Taipei route, how much of that allotment have I used? That's 6,000 miles. But what if I wanted to cross through Taipei into somewhere else like the Philippines, because that looks like it's still within range as well? Well, from here, you can say, under the Paths box, Seattle to Taipei to Manila, and then click Draw Map. And that looks like it's still within range. And Great Circle Mapper says that it is a total of 6,800 miles, so I think we should be able to do that for 75,000 points still. Let's check. Back to the Air Canada homepage, instead of Seattle to Taipei on May 25th, let's go all the way to Manila. Click Search Flights, and let's see what we've got. And here we actually have a few different options where you can go from Seattle through Taipei into Manila. Each of these is only 75,000 points plus $99 in taxes and fees. So this means you could get one sign-up bonus with the Capital One Venture X or the Capital One Venture card, earn 75,000 miles with Capital One, move those miles over to Air Canada, and then book Seattle through Taipei into Manila all in business class. So then you would get one business class flight for one credit card sign up. Are you enjoying these types of tutorial videos? If yes, please let me know. Click that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel for even more points and miles tips every week. And the thing with Air Canada is, you can even do multiple stops in Europe in business class with one 75,000 point sign-up bonus. Here is how to work multiple flights into the itinerary. If you would rather use Air Canada to fly over to Europe instead of Asia, there's a pretty cool thing that you can do here too, where if you are flying less than 6,000 points with a partner airline in business class, expect to spend about 70,000 points to do this with Air Canada. But if you're thinking, well, my sign-up bonus that I'm getting from the Capital One Venture card or the Venture X card is 75,000 points. I really want to maximize all 75,000 on one trip. What can I do? Here is an idea for you. Air Canada also lets you do a stopover for only 5,000 extra points. So that gets you to the 75,000 point mark. And just for funsies, I was looking through Seats.arrow on what might be a small airport that can still connect you into Europe with Air Canada. And it turns out there's a lot of flights between St. Louis and Frankfurt. And I don't think we've ever done a St. Louis example on this channel before, so let's go ahead and search for this. Where let's say that we wanted to go in April. So we'll just take this first one, April 16, and we are going to search from St. Louis over to Frankfurt on April 16 of next year for one adult. Make sure you check box book with Aeroplan and click search flights. And here we see a direct flight from St. Louis over to Frankfurt operated by Lufthansa, 70,000 points per person in business class, just like we expect because it is less than 6,000 miles to fly from St. Louis over to Frankfurt, and so that prices out exactly where we expect it to. But what if you wanted to be a little bit fancier, where instead of just flying from St. Louis over to Frankfurt in business class, you wanted to take a stopover in Frankfurt and continue on to somewhere else like Istanbul? Because if you were to do that flight path from St. Louis through Frankfurt all the way to Istanbul, that is a total of about 5,700 physical miles. So on Air Canada's award chart, this would land squarely in the second bucket, where in business class, you would be able to go all the way from St. Louis through Frankfurt into Istanbul for 70,000 points, plus you would add 5,000 points for a stopover. Here's how you would book that. On Air Canada's website, you would click on multi-city/stopover and make sure you checkbox book with Aeroplan. Now, here's how I was booking this last week. Thank you for everybody who commented on last week's video and was like, that's not actually how you book St. Louis to Frankfurt and then Frankfurt over to Istanbul. This is not how you do that. Instead, when you go over to multi-city/stopover, you just remove flight number 2. And then what you'll do here is you'll say, I want to go all the way from St. Louis to Istanbul with a stopover in Frankfurt. And then you can make the length of the stopover however long you want. Let's say you want to spend a week in Frankfurt before continuing on to Istanbul. This is how you would set up this type of itinerary from St. Louis through Frankfurt into Istanbul, just like this. Then click Search Flights. And then from here, we see the 75,000 points required for this redemption in business class, where you go from St. Louis with a stopover in Frankfurt for 7 days and continue on from Frankfurt over to Istanbul, all in business class. So that matches up with what we are expecting to see on the flight rewards chart. So all of these examples so far have been for one-way business class flights, since it can be pretty difficult to get round-trip flights for 75,000 points. But we have an example of a round-trip flight for you coming up next. And if you are interested in leveling up your points and miles game to maximize your points even more, we have a couple of options for you. The first one is the GeoBreeze Travel Patreon, which you can join starting at just $5 per month through patreon.com/GeoBreezeTravel. Each month, we prepare personalized step-by-step tutorials for the routes that our members request. We also provide open forum group coaching, where you can ask any questions that you have about points, miles, and credit cards in general. And we talk through some of the tricks that I don't really mention on social media. And if you are looking to get even more free travel with points, and you are a business owner or individual who spends more than $100,000 per year on expenses, check out our one-on-one points portfolio management service. We typically save our clients $30,000 to $60,000 in travel in the first 6 to 12 months of working with our team. So if that sounds like something that you would be interested in, book a free intro chat with us at geobreezetravel.com/intro call to learn more. Okay, let's walk through a new partnership that lets you earn a round-trip business class flight for less than what you would earn with one Capital One Venture sign-up bonus. If you're thinking, okay, this is cool that I can fly all the way to Europe or all the way to Asia in business class with one credit card sign-up, but I can't do any of these round-trip flights. It is very difficult to find round-trip flights from the US over to a different continent for less than 75,000 points round-trip. The main exception would be Iberia, where they can be like 34,000 points one way in business class, but unfortunately, Capital One is not a transfer partner with Iberia, as mentioned here. But if you're looking to do a round-trip business class flight, you could do some country hopping outside of the United States. For example, a really exciting new partnership that was recently announced is that Air France now partners with Oman Air, and you can do a round trip between Europe and Oman for less than 75,000 points in Oman Air business class, which looks really nice. So here's how I would search for this. I would go to seats.aero, and under the Air France or KLM Flying Blue tab, I would show flights from anywhere to Europe, and then I would search for MCT, which is the airport code for Muscat, and then let's just say that we wanted something in August. I was looking for stuff for 2025, and it looks like most of their flights start at 54,000, but in 2024, there are a lot of flights that only cost about 31,500 points one way in business class. So 31,500 times 2 is less than 75,000, so you could do this round trip in business class with one credit card sign-up bonus. Here's how to find these flights. What you'll do is just pick a date that has a price that you like on seats.aero. So for example, let's say we like August 8th from MCT over to Istanbul. So we'll fill it in like this. One way, Muscat, Istanbul, August 8th, one adult in business class, click on search flights. And then from here, we do confirm that it's only 31,800 miles, so slightly more, but not by too much, to fly from Oman over to Istanbul in Oman Air business class. And then to fly back, you would search Europe to anywhere, same filters, MCT, probably flying back in the same month, so 2024-08. And then if we are flying out on the 8th, you'd fly back shortly thereafter, or if you wanted to fly, or if you did this backwards, which, spoilers, I kind of did, from MCT to Istanbul, and you wanted to fly from Istanbul over to Oman before August 8th, you could pick something like August 2nd and search that. So you could search from Istanbul over to Muscat on August 2nd for one adult in business class. And you'll see that it's also 31,800 miles, so you could book that round trip for less than the number of points that you would get with one sign-up bonus with either the Capital One Venture or Venture X. I hope you found those tutorials useful. Also, let me know what other types of tutorials you would like to see. Viewer-suggested topics for more videos are always welcome. In the meantime, if you enjoyed these tutorials, I think you'll enjoy this video next.